welcome to Kletus Roadside Service. Today is a hectic one. I don't know why it shouldn't be hectic. We're going to find out how hectic it's going to be. But so far, so good on hecticness. Man, I got to sleep. I don't know what time I actually went to sleep, but I was up doing stuff with Luke until, I don't know, like 10:30, somewhere around there. Yeah, it was like 10:30. Which I don't know. I don't do shit late like that no more. And I don't know. It wasn't bad though. He did most of the work. Let's be honest. He did such a good job at helping me because you know what? I needed my water heater fucking replaced. And he was like, "Let's fucking do it." And he came over last night and he's like, "Do you we should just look at it and see what we need to buy." And so I looked at it, and then I was like, all right. And we kind of made out a list of things. And he said, according to his calculations, $150 is going to have it installed, looking nice and neat, where we want it to be. And so we just needed another $150 worth of like parts and shit. And then that's when I informed him that we are not in the financial spot right now, today. Maybe tomorrow or maybe next week we'll be able to do something like that, but we're not doing that today. And he said, okay, not a problem. So we go back down in the basement and we're looking at everything over. And I'm telling you, this new water heater, it's pretty sick, but it's got an intake and an exhaust on it. Interesting. I don't know. I was thinking about putting a K&N air filter on top of the intake and then putting a fucking MagnaFlow on the fucking exhaust. I thought that was a good idea. But no, it's got to be like into either the garage or outside. But I think we're gonna go ahead and have it in the garage. But that's not even where the fun stuff started happening. That was just just looking stuff over. And then there's a little like blow off valve, pressure valve, whatever the fuck it is, on the top of the water heater that has a big long pipe that goes down that's been dripping for a very long time. Like since we moved in. Not a big deal, right? It's just a little drip. It will fill up a mason jar kind of quickly, actually. I was kind of surprised at how often that mason jar. Well, I'm saying like it'll fill it up multiple times a day, but I just left a mason jar sitting underneath it to catch the drips. I don't know, but the whole floor was wet anyways with water because the bottom of the water heater was horrible. And then I think we kind of found out what kind of started all that. And he found a tag that said that this water heater was last inspected in 1998. Now, officially, probably. But I walk in there and I do laundry sometimes, and I check on it, and it's there. So, I just didn't write it down, but I also don't really know what the fuck I'm looking for. All I know is there's wet on the floor, drippy drip coming out of that pipe, but it heats up the water and it does a good job. So, anyways, that little pressure valve or whatever, he's like, yeah, if we just tap that with a hammer, it'll stop leaking. I said, for real? So I got a hammer and then we tap it and then it starts hissing. And I'm like, that ain't right. Tap it again, it's hissing harder. Tap it again, it's hissing harder. Tap it again, it stops hissing. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. And then, but it was still dripping quite a bit. And he's like, well, that's just excess is still in the pipe. It's, it's a wet pipe, so it's going to be dripping for a while, but it shouldn't be leaking. I'm like, okay. But then it was doing it for a long time. And I was like, you know what? Let's just open that valve all the way up and let the corrosion and shit, because I don't know exactly what it looks like in there, but I imagine it's kind of like a valve on a truck. You know, it's a valve seat. So whenever it gets pushed, it will let water go by, and whenever it's not pushed, it's going to go back down. But maybe there's a little piece of rust corrosion stuck at the valve seat. Hey, maybe that's it, and we just need to open it up a little bit more, because the water was brown when it came out. Open that motherfucker up a little bit more, and boom, we're good to go, right? That's what I was thinking that. No, it got to where we couldn't shut the motherfucker off, and it started spraying out of the fucking little needle and shit. I was like, oh fuck! And we yanked the dryer out of the way, and he goes back there and he tries to turn off the water from to the house, but the water valve is fucking bad, really bad, like not good at all bad. Like part of the handle's missing. It's rusted shut, corroded shut. And then there's another valve back there, but that's just like a water spigot. Now I'm like, I didn't know I had water spigot in here. That's cool. But we're kind of in the middle of a panic because I got water just spraying over everything in my laundry room. So we run out to the curb and shut my water off. And it's just a little knob, little flat knob. You just gotta get a. We used a pipe wrench, or not a pipe wrench, a crescent, big ass crescent. Just put it on there and turned it off. And we're like, all right, we're good. We go back inside and we let it drain until it stops dripping. And then we put on, because he was going to try to screw on another valve underneath the valve that was leaking. So it's okay if that one leaks, whatever. We're going to put a new one on and it'll be fine. And we put that one on and it turned the water back on, and it was just leaking just a little bit. It was like, all right, this is not bad. I think I messed up. I said it was spraying out the needle. It wasn't spraying out the needle yet. Now it was spraying out the needle because we kept hammering. We thought we were in the clear. So we hammered it a little bit. I did it. I don't want to say we. I did most of this. Okay. And we had to run out and shut the water off again. And then we shut the gas off, shut the water off. And then I went up to the wife and I was like, hey, how big of a deal is it to not have like water, like hot water or water? Because I think we're gonna have to leave all this shit shut off until tomorrow, or whenever tomorrow at 5, whenever my buddy gets off work, and we're gonna come finish it up. And she's like, I'm not happy with you right now. I'm like, all right, well, I'm sorry, we made some mistakes. But then me and Luke look at each other and we're like, well, it's like fucking midnight. So, and then we look at the clock and the clock says 7:30, and we're like, whoa, hey, Home Depot's still open. And but like I said, I was like, we're not really in the financial spot to be doing that right now. Not meaning we're broke completely, meaning we have like other stuff that needs to get paid first. We have the money, but so I don't know what bills we're gonna miss out on this week, next week. But we went ahead and went to Home Depot. But he's like, all right, let's just do it quick and dirty. Just get you hot water tonight. Let's get the new one installed, but we're just gonna get you, instead of rerouting all of the pipes, sweating in a bunch of new joints and elbows, oh shit, and all that shit. Everything's there. All we got to do is get those fittings to be moved over to where the new water heater is going to be. So not a big deal. And I said, all right, let's do it. And I guess I was kind of persistent on getting valves. I was like, I want to get valves. He said no. Well, he didn't say no, but he was like, oh, you want valves? All right, we can do valves. I'm like, yeah, let's do valves. So I had to buy nipples and valves because nobody makes a 3/4 inch ball valve that's half female and the other half is male, or the other side is male. Nobody makes that. I mean, they make nipples, so I guess that's what you got to do. But you got to spend what, fucking $12 on a goddamn valve, two of them, and then $8 on a fucking nipple. I don't know why the nipple's so fucking specials. What's so special about the nipple? Why is that $8? I don't know. But we grabbed them, we got them, and went back to the house and got everything put on. Got the old one ripped out, and when I say the bottom of it, I kept saying, I'm like, the bottom of it is crunchy. It's not good. Like it's gone. Like there is no bottom to it. It was completely. It wouldn't stand up. Like as soon as we got the water lines unhooked, the thing was falling over. The water lines were holding that thing standing up. I was like, oh shit. Um, but we got it. We got it. We got it yanked out. We got it drained all the way. Luckily, my floor drained there. I don't know why, but a while back, I thought that floor drain, it would drain. It was just super fucking slow. I was wrong. It drains great. Because we emptied that whole 40-gallon water heater. Maybe 50. No, it's not a 50. It's like a 40. Maybe even a 30. I don't know what. But we drained that whole thing in there, and it took it all. And then we get everything mounted up and ready to go, but then the exhaust is not lining up with the existing exhaust, and we were thinking about just turning it around and having it go into the garage, because we're hanging it on a wall that's in between the laundry room and the garage or whatever. I was thinking, let's just run it into the garage, but it's a good idea to let it go where it was going, because that's a good spot for it to be. And then the intake, we're just going to let it intake from that room and just not shut the door. It'll be all right. There's a lot of oxygen in the basement. It's kind of weird to think that you would not have oxygen in the basement, and it'd be kind of odd also to think that this thing is going to suck that much that it's going to deplete the laundry room of oxygen. Like, I don't think so. So anyways, we got it all hooked up, and then still two of our ball valves, the new valves and nipples that we put on. I'm not a plumber. I didn't know. I just put one strip of that thread tape on there. I just put it all the way around it once. It was overlapped a little bit where I connected it, or started and ended. It was just a little over. Apparently you got to use like 3 or 4 wraps of that shit, and I didn't. So now it's a seep. It's such a small amount of anything going on that it's not anything to worry about right now. But I'll get to this a little bit later. We got everything put on. We got the exhaust ran. We had to buy new exhaust from Home Depot and all that shit. We got it. Everything's hooked up. Everything's good. And then we go to hook up the fucking gas line. At the last thing we needed to do was hook up the gas line, supply it with gas. We already had this water supply going, and this is also another little tidbit of information. When you shut your water off outside in the little manhole, and it leaks a little bit of water out of that little valve, hey, not a big deal. It leaks a little bit of water. But if you leave the lid off, it will freeze. And then you're going to have to go out there with a torch. Luckily, I have one. Or else I would have probably strung out some fucking extension cord in my hair dryer that I got, or my heat gun, or whatever. And I have an actual heat gun. Okay, I upgraded from just the hair dryer. I actually have a heat gun now. The hair dryer did do good, though. The hair dryer would shrink wrap some stuff. It was kind of nice. But anyways, the fucking valve froze outside because I didn't put the lid back on, because I knew I was going to be turning it right back on. But we got it. And I dropped my flashlight in the fucking manhole. I was like, oh shit. It's not a manhole. If you think about it, manhole is for a man to go in. This thing I don't know what man is going to fit in that manhole, but that ain't no manhole. It's just a lid, just a cert water lid. So the gas line won't fucking fit. Um, it's I already had an existing gas line that was unused. I don't know why. I don't know what it was for, but it's a bright yellow flexible gas line that was, just kind of not tied, but shoved up into the rafters and stuff, and it was just hanging down. And it looked real ugly, but whenever I talked to buddies, after I bought the house, I was like, "What is this thing?" And they're like, "Oh, it's an extra gas line." I was like, "I should remove that." He's like, "Why?" I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Just leave it. Is it leaking?" I said, "No." He's like, "Just leave it." I said, "Okay." So now I just have the gas line laying around, and I'm like, "Hey, this is a good idea. Maybe we'll use that gas line because it'll reach over there right to it." And yeah, it's the wrong fucking thread. I don't understand how a 3/4 inch gas line doesn't hook up to a 3/4 inch gas nipple on a fucking water heater. But here we are. So I don't know. So we don't have hot water right now. We do have water, which is half as good as what it was before. I mean, twice as good as it was before. 100% better. Maybe not. It's 50% worse than what it started out at. Let's say noon yesterday. But all I gotta get is a little fucking nipple. A little nipple. I need one side of it to be this type of thread and the other side to be that type of thread. I'm sure it's a thing. It's gotta be a thing. Who wouldn't make a thing like that? I'm not the only guy to run into that issue. I promise. So yeah, we don't have hot water, but everything's fine. Everything's hooked up. I told the wife, I was like, "How much hot water do you use during the day, anyways? So like, if you do dishes or laundry, but you're not going to be doing dishes or laundry today, let's just call it how much hot water are you going to use? Are you gonna give the kids a bath? You gonna shower? Like, what do you plan on doing during the day? At night, hopefully I'll have the part and everything will be all right. But anyways, let's see here. I'm gonna get off work and I'm gonna go do that and get the gas line hooked up. I don't think I need my buddy to come, but if I have to end up working late for some odd reason, I'm gonna need him to come over and finish that up so we can have hot water and get it all going. So what else is going on? Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of fell asleep after that, and then I woke up this morning. Woke up at 4 a.m. to my phone ringing. I'm like, who in the hell is calling me? It's my school district. My kids' school district called me at 4 a.m. to let me know the kids aren't going to school today. I mean, I don't want to act like it bothers me that much because it really, whatever. I'm okay. I'm easy to go awake and go back to sleep and stuff. It's just kind of like I know a lot of other parents are probably gonna be cussing them the fuck out. How dare you fucking call me at 4 a.m. like on the dot 4 a.m. What the hell is that? So I was like, all right, cool. Kids aren't going to school, and I went back to sleep. And then I woke up. I woke up on time. Everything was going good. I get outside and I'm ready to leave this morning, and the truck is dead, 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 dead. I'm like, motherfucker! Like, this is exactly what I needed. So, in order to jumpstart my truck, my 92, I got to get my wife's car. Everything's covered in snow still. I did shovel the driveway, but for some reason yesterday, I decided not to clean off any of the cars. Don't know why that was a thing, but I decided not to. So I had to clean my truck off to get the hood open. I had to clean off my wife's car because it's the only car close enough to use jumper cables. I had to get her hood cleaned off, get her car turned around, and then I had to clean off the 79 hood also. The 79 hood is uh, basically a no, I think it might be more than that. Like, well, let's just say a 6 foot by 6 foot fucking piece of flat metal covered in snow. I had to get uncovered to open the hood to grab the jumper cables out. It actually wasn't a big deal, but it did have like 3 or 4 inches of snow all over it. Got my wife's car turned around, got the jumper cables hooked up. There is power going to my truck. Like, I know, I can see the gauge. The gauge was like kind of low, and now it's up high, and it's still just doing the same fucking thing. Luckily, it's a manual. Not luckily, but just it is a manual. So I put it in gear, and I rock it back and forth because I'm thinking maybe it's not seized, but it's just like it just needs to rotate just a little bit just to get the fucking starter a little bit easier time because it's right on the whatever. I don't know. Sometimes you roll them a little bit and they're easier to start. No, nope, not at all. It would not. It kept doing the same exact thing. And you know what? I know what the fuck it was. So my brother, he's like, I didn't have any problems with the radio whenever I drove it, and I always kept. I would always pull the fuse out every time I drove it. But the last few times I drove it, when I turned the truck off, the radio would turn off. And I said, "Hey, looks like it does work. Sometimes the radio will stay on. Sometimes it'll go off." Then this time I turned the truck off and the radio turned off, and I guess I didn't even think of it. But I know that little fucking fuse has a little bit of or the radio, somewhere in there, has a little bit of a parasitic draw that fucking ran my battery dead. And then it being 3 degrees today did not help my truck start. So while I had my wife's car warming up there, I just threw all my shit in her car and I said, "You ain't going to school, you ain't going nowhere, you ain't got no hot water, I'm taking your fucking car." So here I am. I am almost to work. This is Thursday morning. This is not good. I'm almost to work and it's 7:20. And I was supposed to be there at 7. I did text the boss and let him know. And my fucking spitter over here is fucking frozen. I can't use the straw. I like having a little cup with a straw and spitting in through the straw into a cup. That's like my preferred method of spitter. But the fucking straw is frozen to the bottom. I tried spitting in it, and that's like it's not good. What else is going on? I found a couple of guys on BeamNG, the website or the Facebook group, and he's like, I don't know, he's redoing a map. There's a map that I really like. It's a neighborhood, and he's redoing the map. Because you can do that with like any mods that you download. Like, you get the file, and you can go into the file and change whatever you want about it if you know what the fuck you're doing. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing when it comes to computer files and shit, because it's not just like, oh, I want to make this part this color. It's not that simple. You got to go in, you got to edit the mesh and the fucking J-beam and blah blah blah. I don't even know what those words mean. And I've been playing the game for 10 years. Well, not 10 years, but I've been playing it for a long time. I still don't know what the fuck like any of that shit means. I'm not into code. I'm not into modeling and stuff like that. I'd like to be. But there is a button you can hit on your keyboard, F11, and it will open up the world editor. And there's this map. And this guy has been like creating new stuff on this map, like adding new houses from different maps. Like, he's like, you drive around these maps and you're like, that's a cool house. And you can copy that file somehow. You got to get into the files of both maps and then move files over and everything. I don't know. But it's pretty fucking cool. So I'm like, all right, interesting. And I've been following this guy. He's probably made like 5 or 6 updates to the map, but he's not sharing it because he says it's not ready yet. And then he's like, hey, yeah, whenever I'm done with this map, I think I'm gonna put it on Patreon. So you guys are gonna have to pay me $5 a month to fucking have it. And honestly, it's just a one-time payment to get the map. But then if he does any more updates to it, in order to get the update file, you're gonna have to pay him another $5. Which, hey, that's good. That's a good little hustle for somebody. You're having fun, you're playing games, and you're making money. Great. I don't have the money. I'm not gonna do that. So I'm like, I'm seeing all this progress he's making on this map, and I'm like, you know what? I think I can do that. And I've done it before. I've gone into maps and edited them and stuff, and sometimes what I do is actually cool. And other times I spend a few hours fucking with this and just getting pissed off because I don't know how to make it. Like I make a road and then you're just like, you fall through the bottom of the map whenever you make a road and you're fucking flying through the air and you're like, what did I do wrong? Come on over, you dumb fucking idiot. Why are we going so slow? Going 50. Guess it could be ICO. No, update. It's 2 degrees now. Cool. Um, so yeah, I don't know. While my buddy, I feel a little bit bad, but I also would have just been bothering him. He's over there trying to figure out like all the right fittings and everything, and I'm like, I don't. Whatever your plan is what I want to go with. So you just figure it out, and I'm gonna sit here and try to fix this fucking map up. And anyway, so I played a little bit of games last night, but yeah, a lot of it was working on the water heater. But while he was like trying to draw up schematics and put together a parts list, I was trying to play that fucking game and I could not fucking get it. I cannot figure it out. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, yeah, so I did play a little bit of games. I had yesterday off, by the way. I don't know. I don't even know if I mentioned that. I took yesterday off because we were supposed to get 10 inches of snow. All the message boards around town, like do not travel, this and that, and I'm not even on the schedule anyways. So I'm like, I'll just stay the fuck home, stay out of your hair, and yeah, so I stayed home, had a good time, and I don't know if I mentioned I got the truck legalized too. Not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, after work, I went to the DMV. I go in there, and I'm worried because I don't know. I feel like every time I've gone to the DMV, I've had the title to the vehicle, like every time. But then I'm like, I don't even need the title. I'm not making any changes to the title. I'm on the registry as owning the vehicle, so as long as I go in there and I have all the right shit, I should be all right. And yeah, it was. Everything went really smooth actually. Went in there, and the reason I can't take the title is because the back of the title has my brother's information all over it because I was going to sell the truck to him. I did sell the truck to him, but I never sent in my part of the title, and he never sent in his title uh, because we're lazy. And by the time we were ready to send that in, he was ready to sell it. He was like, "Yeah, I want to send the title in so I can sell the truck." And I was like, "No, I want the truck back." It's a factory 4-wheel drive, 5-speed manual, extended cab, 92 Chevy truck. Like it's not anything special to anybody but me because I think it's rare. I've seen a lot of 5-speed manual 2-wheel drives, extended cabs. I've never, ever in my life seen a 5-speed extended cab 4-wheel drive. It's got the 2 sticks on the floor. And that was always a dream when I had my 96. I had a 96, it was automatic, but it did have the floor shift. for the 4-wheel drive. And I was like, oh, you know how cool this would be if it was 5-speed? It'd be so fucking sick. So, yeah. And then I found this one. And I got it. And then I thought my brother was going to like it. I thought he was going to be like, oh, this is so cool. I can't believe I have this truck. It's so awesome. And he slightly was for the first, like, week. And then after that, he's like, I really want an Avalanche. I'm like, what? He's like, I really want an Avalanche. I was like, okay, well, I mean, some of those Avalanches do look all right. He's like, yeah, they have all kinds of cool features and stuff. I was like, and they make the ones, the cat eye ones, they make them without all that plastic shit all over the side. So you can get one that looks pretty good. He's like, no. Like, that's what I want, is the plastic shit all over the side. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? What kind of taste do you have? He wants all the gray, sun-faded plastics all over the side of that fucking truck. I'm like, what the fuck, brother? You want to sell the 92 that you got for a smoking deal to get a big old piece of fucking rusty shit? Like, I mean, my truck is already rusty, but it's like, this is, you know what, this truck has been battle tested. I guess not battle tested enough, because as soon as he bought it, the fucking clutch master cylinder started leaking, and the power steering. And he's like, this thing leaks oil everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That thing's never leaked a drop, and I've had it for like 6 years. And yeah, it turns out it was power steering and shit. So, anyways, I'm here at work. So I bought the truck back from him. And anyway, and all that story was to say, I have the title, but it's got somebody else's name wrote all over the back. So I didn't feel comfortable taking it into the DMV unless I'm there to swap out titles. But it's already titled in my name. There's no reason to swap it out. But I'm gonna head in here and talk to the boss. Well, a little bit of an update. I was gonna go do trash. I was gonna run trash with the trash truck. Well, I guess let's not start there. I show up, like I said, a little bit behind. How do I adjust this fucking steering wheel? And my boss's door was shut. And it's like, that door ain't never shut. So it was an interesting deal. He had a couple guys in his a guy in his office. Oh, come on. Where are we at? There we go. Sorry, I'm driving a dump truck. I've never ran this dump truck. We have 3 dump trucks, and I've only ever ran the other 2. I have not run this one, and this one is a manual, which is fine. It's just, it's loose as a fucking goose. This is an old Peterbilt. Not old. Old compared to what else we got. And I got to put on my glasses. I'm driving right into the sun. Here we go. Get to the shop, and he's got somebody in his office. I'm like, oh. And I see another guy. So remember, we hired 3 kids. Well, we call them kids, but there's just 3 guys. And told you the other day, I think I told you that I don't know when I told you, if I told you, but I had to move trucks around in the shop to inside the shop because it was going to be snowy and cold and stuff, and they're like, let's get all this stuff moved inside. And I didn't do both of them, but I got in one truck. I opened up the door and got in, and the seat belt was already connected, meaning somebody's been sitting on the seatbelt driving around, and they were so dumb that they couldn't unlatch it when they were done. Like, listen, what am I doing? I don't know. I kind of got lost in my gears here. I thought I was in the high side. And then, so I brought that up to another guy that was standing there. I was like, yeah, I got in that truck and the fucking seatbelt was already latched. And he's like, that's so funny because I got in that other truck over there and it had the seatbelt latched also. I said, interesting. And then there was another guy standing around when we said that, and he said, you need to go report that. Now, I am not, I don't know, if it's a real issue, I'll go talk to my boss about it. If it's something like that, I can understand it a little bit. I would never do it, but I can understand somebody that would do that. And I was hoping when I logged into that truck that it would show me who was driving it last so I could go talk to him. And it didn't. It wouldn't show me. So, but I already had too many eyes on it. I had to go report it to the boss because I'm not getting in trouble for, they're going to go in there, they're going to be like, hey, did Kletus talk to you about the fucking seatbelt situation? And I'll say no. And then I'm in his office with the door shut. And that's not where I want to be unless I'm talking about getting a raise. And I suck that coffee down real quick. So, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, the last day I worked, we were all sitting in his office. And there's a bunch of other guys around, and I wanted to talk to him, but I didn't know how to talk to him and get the door shut at the same time. But I don't know for sure, but I had heard stories of another guy that did that to his seatbelt and then got fired. Now, I always imagined there was something else on top of that. Not that that really pertains to my story right now, but I always thought that, yeah, he was, they sent him in for a drug test, he failed it, and he also had his seatbelt always latched and whatever. I don't know. Apparently that's not the case. There was a guy that he did that with his seatbelt, and he got fired basically on the spot. And he doesn't give a shit what kind of worker you are, if you're like super good or not very good or whatever you are. If you're like the best worker he's ever had, he'd probably talk to you. He probably wouldn't fire you if it was like maybe me or something. Well, I don't know. Maybe he'd probably fire my ass. But anyways, he had one of the kids in there, and I didn't know who drove the truck. But everybody speculated after I had brought it up. They're like, it's the fucking kids. I'm like, well, let's make sure before we fucking start pointing the blame. You want to know exactly who was driving that truck. You don't want to start talking to somebody else about an issue, and then it turns out it wasn't them. But one of those kids was in the office, and I guess that's the only way I'm kind of really. Somebody lost a tire. It's one of the ways I'm kind of dealing with it myself. Is that I don't know who it was. I just know what happened, and that's all the information I had to give. Was I know what happened. I have no idea who was involved. And I'm guessing he found out who was involved. I thought he would have taken care of it yesterday or maybe even the day before or whatever. But no, it was this morning. He took care of it. And I don't know for sure. But 2 of them boys got taken into the office. And 2 of them boys came out of the office not looking super great. So I can only imagine they got fired. And not that, I don't know, I really hate feeling like I'm part of the reason they're not getting a check anymore. If I don't even know if they're fired. I don't know if maybe he just said you're taking a week off with no pay or something. I don't know. Maybe he did something like that. You think about what you did and don't do it again, because I feel like that's a pretty easily correctable situation. Is say, hey, don't do that anymore. Luckily, you're not dead or got caught by now by the actual police. But I don't know if he was looking for reasons to get rid of them. Anyways, there has been issues with these employees that I've had a couple of concerns about. A lot of other people have had even more concerns about it. So I'm wondering if this was just he needed a reason, he found it, and now they're gone. I don't know. Should be, I don't know. And so there's three friends. Like I said, there were three friends. And then whenever he got done talking to guy number two, he was headed down to the shop where the third guy was, and I tagged along with him. I didn't mention anything about that. That's not my business. That's his business. He's the one doing it. I'm not involved with it in any way. I don't know. Part of me hopes my name was not dropped in the office. Because it wasn't just me. It was another guy too. But anyways, I was going to go haul trash. And that's the reason I was going down to that building with him. And I drove my wife's car in today. So I do have my keys, but they were still in my wife's car. I just had my wife's keys with me. So you got to have a key to get in the doors down there. And yeah, we went down in there and he took the third friend aside and started talking to him. You never know in situations like that. The third friend could get upset for his friends and then just say, I'm out of here too. I don't know which friend was the first one to get the job. But I don't know. All three of them did not really put a lot of care into the job is what it kind of seemed like. You know, they were kind of taking it for granted. It's okay, you can take it for granted, but you're going to take it out on the fucking porch. You'll be walking out. You're going to be walking down the road not caring about it. One guy, I drove with him a little bit. He scared me a little bit, but that's not crazy because I've ridden with other people that I do trust, but sitting on the passenger side of one of these big rigs is a totally different experience than driving it. But I tried to take that into account, and I was still a little. I was like, "You're gonna wreck this motherfucking thing. It's just you're gonna get a speeding ticket or crash this fucking thing." I just had a feeling. Luckily, none of that ever happened, but it could. And then the other guy, he just wouldn't learn. He had to be taught everything multiple times, which is normally acceptable, but it's like, you're not retaining any of this knowledge that we're trying to teach you right now, like on how to operate a truck. Like, you're not retaining any of it. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. And they were all Class Bs. One of them was a Class A, I believe. And then we had another guy, and this is the one I feel the worst about if he's gone, is because he was a good guy. He was kind of I don't know. I don't know if I want to say publicly that he was annoying. I guess I already did, but he was kind of annoying whenever, well, we were out drinking, having a good time. We were up north, up in St. Joe, and we stayed in a hotel, and he was just super loud and obnoxious. It was kind of ridiculous. He was a bro, and I don't know. He had a little bit of common sense under his head, so he was able to get the job done, do the job. He also, I believe, he just bought a house and just had a kid. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. I hope everything is going to be fine with him. Hopefully he can find his way in another path. He hadn't worked here that long, so he was already on a different path. Hopefully, if this path got cut, at least he wasn't here for years. But yeah, I don't know. I really do feel bad if my name was either brought up or just me. I was involved anyways. Also, I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong, and he just said, "Don't worry about the." I'm not even. This is other stuff that we're dealing with. We're not even talking about the seatbelt. This is other stuff. I have no idea. Um, is it good? No, it's not good. If I was gonna look at any bright side of this, if two or three of them are gone now, there's not really a bright side. Uh, Publicly, there's not really a bright side. Privately, that's two less people I got to compete with for these fucking jobs. And I think I brought it up before. I think they do this on purpose. They do a mass hiring, and because instead, like you can only get so much out of somebody in an interview. Everybody's going to be on their best behavior in an interview. But if you hire a bunch of fucking people, no matter really how their interview goes, and that's what it kind of seems like, and let them get in the job and see how they do, and see if you have any problems with them, and then you have an excess amount of employees that you can lose a few that you'd rather not have. And so I don't know. It kind of seems like they do that. You do have the people that have been here for a long time that are going to stay here for a long time. I haven't heard of anybody. There's been a couple people that have said, I don't even need this fucking job. Most of those are gone. Most of them are gone. Almost all of them are gone, actually. Everybody else that's here is like, I like this job. I want to stay working here. And I am in the same boat, even though the other day, I'm having so many low hour weeks that it's like, fuck, dude. I need to make money. Like, I need to make some real money here. And I'm not making the money. That's the only reason I would go anywhere else. And like I said, I don't have $100 for parts for my water heater, like an essential part of my house. I don't have the money for that. And it's like, and I've worked here for going on, well, just over 3 years. I've been here for a while. I need to make that money. I need the money. I do have two beautiful trucks. Neither one run right now, but I do have two beautiful trucks and children and a wife and a house and video games and chewing tobacco and sweet tea in my fridge. Life. Think about those things, okay? I'm doing good, but I do need a water heater. I do need parts for the water heater. I mean, those have already been taken care of, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like after working here for 3 years, I was hoping to be in a good position, like really good position, like have a good, solid job where I'm not like my wife can stay home from work and be all right. This guy don't want to let me over. Oh, this truck is kind of cool. It's got cup holders right here instead of all the way up at the front of the dash. Watch, I'm going to be looking for my fucking spitter here in 5 seconds. Like, where the fuck did I put it? Yeah, not too excited about what happened at all. I'm not logged into this fucking truck. Son of a bitch. I'm not even logged out of my old truck. log out. There we go. Now I'm good. Let's see what else is going on. I think I totally failed to mention my old water heater. Me and my buddy, we carried it out the front door and we just tossed it in the yard. And then he left last night. And then as soon as I heard him pull off, I was like, oh, that water heater is just in the front yard. Like, making my house look real trashy right now. Like, not good. Because we were going to throw it in the bed of my truck, and I was going to take my truck to work, and I was going to toss it in the scrap bin. But that's not happening right now. It's still in my front yard. It's too heavy for me to carry, probably. So, I don't know. I'll probably still have my buddy come over tonight and just make sure I do the gas correctly. Help me. I got to get these other fittings. I got to retape those one fittings and get them to seal properly. And then get that water heater picked up and get my dryer put back. I could use him. I could use his help quite a bit. Now, I think it is going to be kind of a late night for me because I'm hauling dirt. I'm taking a dump truck up to St. Joe. I don't know if I even mentioned that. I'm in a dump truck headed up to St. Joe. That dirt pile that I created, we're going to grab loads of that, dump truck by dump truck, and take it to the landfill. It's a long drive. And the dirt is literally just dirt. You know, it's nothing special. But they deemed it contaminated, so we're going to haul it. Some of it actually is really diesel soaked, and some of it is actually not at all. It's just dirt. Just dirt, but it came from that area, so hey, and I'm not complaining at all. I was worried about getting hours today, and now I think I'm pretty good. I won't be staying the night nowhere, but I will be working kind of late tonight because the landfill doesn't close till 5. But it all depends on it's a 2-hour round trip, just of drive time, not of offload and load time. So starting at 8 this morning is gonna already kind of put me back. It all depends on where I end. If I get down here, if I end up there at 3:30, if I get there at 3:30, I might be able to make it to the landfill. But they don't want to keep me loaded. They don't want me to stay loaded, so because that stuff will freeze to the bed. It'll be a pain in the ass to get it out. So I don't know if it's like 3:30. I might just, if it's 3:30 and I'm at the landfill out here, I'm just gonna head on back to the shop and be done. I would like to get enough hours today, and I think I will for sure. But getting off a little early today might not be a horrible deal because with something is banging on the cab of my truck. Something outside. It's just getting hit by the wind. Anyways, I think this is about it. So, keep all 18 down, and I'm sure you're going to hear from me at some point in time. I'll give you an update on the three boys. Give you an update on the truck, because that's another thing I got to do when I get home today is figure out what the hell is going on with the truck, or else I got to get the car out and start driving the car again. And the water heater, the boys, and the truck. Give you an update on all that here in a little bit. Adios! Keep all 18 down.